I'll be spoiling those ones anyway. CGI is insane. Everything is so gray. It's on the tip of my tongue, but I don't actually know what it is. You thought it was great when the apes started riding horses. I knew it was going to happen, but it still made me sad. Hi guys, welcome back to another Nerd Rants video. Today we're talking about a movie that came out in the last week, so spoiler warning ahead. I'll probably give a brief little spoiler-free general opinion review of it, and then I'll get into spoilers and I will put a warning or something in there. But last night, well, Wednesday night, I'm recording this Thursday, Wednesday night, my brother Reese and I went to watch Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. We are both very into the well, not original, because I think it's technically a remake of the original trilogy, but the trilogy, the Planet of the Apes trilogy with Andy Serkis and stuff, and that's just insane. Like, the CG in the movies is ridiculous. It's so flippin' good. And this movie is no exception. It's so great. And I just feel like it flows so naturally from the ending of War for the Planet of the Apes, because in that one, spoiling that one, because if you haven't seen the Planet of the Apes movies in general, go watch those and come back and watch this, because I'll be spoiling those ones anyway. But anyway, yeah, end of War for the Planet of the Apes. See, they escape the intelligent apes, because humans make virus makes monkeys, makes apes smart, but human dumb and die. That's essentially what happens, and the humans are fighting with the intelligent apes because intelligent apes, scary. We have known nothing about them. Instead of trying to coexist, we're like, let's just shoot them, because humanity's weird that way. Anyway, they finally escape humanity, and then Caesar dies at the end of War for the Planet of the Apes, and so it's a very final ending. And so it is actually very cool to see where they go with it, because they have it happen generations later. It's like, hey, we're free from the humans, and then just see how they've evolved and how they've developed and how they've kind of segregated as a species over the generations. And then seeing how some information about the history of their kind, the history of humanity, the history of Caesar has been distorted or forgotten, or it's very fun. And seeing all the different sects, clans, whatever, of the apes that, because over time they've segregated and kind of formed their own things, and some are more secluded than others, and all of that, and seeing the differences between them, and because they're all have their own different cultures, and it's very, very cool. The first 5-10 minutes of the movie, we really just get to explore one clan in particular, where the main character comes from, and we explore that for a little bit, and then plot happens and upheaval, and then he has to leave his clan, obviously, because he's not going to stick around, and humans involved, because there are still humans that have survived, because it's very cool to see. And I think they do that and have kind of because in the other ones it's just oh, this is our world, we build up kind of how the virus works, but otherwise it's just our world, so there's not a whole lot of world building and development that happens there. And in this one, because it's generations after this whole world changing event, essentially, it's very cool to see how they then build this new world that they've set up, and it's done very well, and I love it. And again, CGI is insane. It's so good. The apes, and all of the apes in general, look so realistic. And in my brother's words, they do orangutans insanely well, photorealistic. The only time they look kind of weird is when they're talking, because, you don't expect an orangutan to talk. So that was my brother's favorite part of the CGI. But yeah, they all looked amazing. The characters were well done, and it was a very like, they do outline the quote unquote villain fairly obviously, but at the same time, I'm like, we're able to understand where he's coming from and how the human character plays out. Oh man, it's like, I don't know. I don't know who I can trust and who I'm supposed to be rooting for. It's like, everything is so gray, and that's amazing. I love it, because that is the reality of things. It's like, there's a whole lot of gray area here. It's like, people do stupid, horrible things, sometimes for the right reasons. Sometimes they do good things for not, like, selfish reasons. It's like, it's cool that that's portrayed. So yeah, I think that's generally my non-spoiler stuff. It's very good. If you haven't watched it, I definitely recommend it. It's one of those movies where I feel like you don't necessarily have to have watched the original trilogy to see it and know what's going on. There will be some questions, but not huge things, because they do explain the necessary parts of, like, Caesar lore, essentially, while we go through it. But I definitely think watching the original trilogy beforehand enhances the experience, because you do have that context for stuff, and so you know what they're talking about, and you can see kind of how the image of Caesar has been distorted or forgotten, and that's very cool. So yeah, it's kind of like reading Heroes of Olympus before the original Percy Jackson series. Like, I have no idea who these characters are that they're talking about or that we're interacting with, and I don't know all of these inside jokes that everybody else or inside information that everyone else understands, but I can still follow the story. That's essentially how it feels. But yeah, that's general information. That's my spoiler-free stuff. We're gonna do the spoiler stuff because we need to talk about specifics about characters, and that's the main thing. That's the main thing we need to talk about, is the specifics about characters and, like, clans. Okay. Okay, at this point, haven't watched it, get out, come back later. Those of you who have watched it, I don't know how many there are of us. There were like 6 other people there were maybe 6 other people in the theater with my brother and I, so I don't know how many people actually care about this movie. Anyway, for those of you who have, we're gonna start ranting about the characters, because that is the main spoiler thing that I have to talk about, is the characters. So, main trio, I guess, we have Noah, Anaya, and it's not Sonia, but it's S something. It's very close. I feel bad for not remembering. I feel like they don't say her name a lot. But anyway, the girl says, so it's on the tip of my tongue, but I don't actually know what it is. Anyway, Anaya is fun because he talks in the third person. So he shows a little bit of the, like, because we have most of the episodes just, like, talking normally. They're just talking like a normal person. And then we have Anaya's just, like, talks in the third person. So that's a fun little quirk that he has. And I immediately went, oh, that's cool. I kind of like they still have, like, the concept of there are still those that aren't, like, on the same level as everyone else intelligence-wise. Because, you know, it's people like that. Having the varying levels of intelligence is I like the representation of that. I also, literally the first scene, we start with those 3 going up and, like, raiding an eagle's nest, essentially, so they get the eggs for it, and we find out it's because their clan raises eagles. You thought it was great when the apes started riding horses in War for the Planet of the Apes. No, this clan of apes literally raises eagles. It's so great. I love it. I love the concept of just like, nope, this clan raises eagles, and they're the only ones that do. But it's so good. They're also like the kind of the cut-off clan, and so they don't actually have no idea who Caesar is, and they don't really know anything about the history of the world. Like they call humans echoes, and I feel like they don't actually know anything about before, they apes settled, essentially. And they just, all they know is the rules that their elders have set in place and the laws that the elders have set in place. It's like, these are the boundaries, basically, of our territory. This is our tradition, this is all our rules, this is what we follow, and this is our way of life. And that's literally all they know. And so it's very fun to see that side of it. And then when an echo or a human shows up and starts following Noah, that's when the plot stuff starts happening. Because then they send someone out to go like scare off the echo because they're just pests, because they don't understand humanity and what it was and what it became or any of that. And so they send the guy out to scare the echo away. He gets attacked by a different clan of apes who are brutal and have basically taken Caesar's name and twisted it into violence, and so saying, using twisted partial facts about the story of Caesar and how the apes got to where they are to justify ransacking an entire clan and an entire village of apes and taking over and taking all of these apes prisoner and hauling them off to their clan to essentially become slaves of sorts, to their leader, who we'll get into his character later. And yeah, that clan they have electricity staffs, which are also fun to just have them riding around on horses electrocuting people. And yeah, it's just fun stuff happening. Fun, dark stuff. So anyway, because of that, Noah's the only only survivor left behind in his clan. And so he takes off. Buries his father, takes off, goes, I'm gonna bring them back. I'm going to bring my people back. Follows them into a forbidden valley. And he meets Raka, the orangutan, he's so fun, and I love him. And from literally the second he showed up on screen, through that first scene where I kind of see him as how he relates and interacts with Noah, I go, cool. He's gonna die, isn't he? First scene was they're gonna kill off Raka, aren't they? They're gonna kill Raka. And that medallion he wears, because he's a part of the Caesar legend, the history, basically the preservation of the history of Caesar and stuff, and seeing how, even though he knows so much more than everybody else about it, that's a very fun thing to see, and seeing how he has that knowledge, but at the same time, because of the generations going by and having to be passed down, he still doesn't know everything, and he still doesn't have it all figured out, but he does know more than anyone else. And so he acts kind of as a mentor to Noah and teaches him, this is who Caesar is. This is what he was actually like, unlike what these guys think he was like and what they think he wanted. This is the reality, and this is the morality and the standard that he taught. And this is what he thought about humans, and all of that, and sharing this information, these lessons with Noah, to the point where he gets Noah to welcome this human that's been following him into their trip. And because she's still following him, and even though Noah goes she's a pest, she stole from my village, that's the reason that this guy went out in search to scare her off and got found by this other clan who went back and destroyed my village. It's kind of her fault that we're even here. And getting over that and having compassion for her, it's cool to see that development because of Raka. And then they get attacked by the clan, and they're going over this bridge because they find out this human, May, can speak. She's still intelligent, and she knows where they're taking my clan. And so they're following her to this quote-unquote human settlement and end up walking into a trap from the other clan, Proximus's clan. And lo and behold, Raka dies in a raging river, saving May's life. And I knew it was coming. I knew it was going to happen, but it still made me sad. Even though, like, I knew the moment he started, showing his character that he was going to die, I still had the sliver of hope that maybe they wouldn't. They didn't kill Zed in The Legend of the Seeker. He was the mentor character. They didn't kill Zed, so there was a chance, but no, Raka dies, and it's sad. And then Noah and May are taken prisoner by Proximus's clan. And this is where it gets very fun. We get Proximus Caesar. Is the ape leader of his clan, who's gone out and basically gathered all the clans into one place because he's trying to build this kingdom, because he has another intelligent human that's basically his servant or whatever, who has been teaching him about Roman history. And so there's all of this stuff that he's aligning his way of leadership and stuff with Roman history. And so he takes the title of Caesar, which, is just the ruler in into the Roman Empire, but has this double meaning now for the apes, because not only is they like, oh, Caesar is a leader, like, they also have that actual figure who bore the name Caesar, who basically was their savior from humanity. And so having that double meaning, he's taking on that name, that title, but also kind of taking on the name of Caesar, which is a fun little thing to throw in there, but also so much of the Roman things happening, and they're like, it's great. Proximus has an amazing performance. It's so good. He's like giving this speech and he's just so into it. It's great. It's so great. And he has this call and answer area where he's just like, what a wonderful day. And the entire crowd of apes is responding, and that's a cool scene. His introduction is just fantastic. Then we find out he's trying to open this vault that is apparently where the U.S. military fled when things with their simian virus or whatever got out of hand. They fled with all of their weapons and all their intelligence to hide and keep it away from the apes. And so he's trying to get into this. And remember what I said about him being an understandable villain? Like, all he wants to do is learn, but he wants the apes to learn and to develop and to evolve, but he's selfish about it. And so he doesn't want to wait and have it happen naturally and have him evolve and develop this knowledge naturally. He wants to break into this vault and learn it now and right away so that he can learn. And so because of that selfishness that he has in wanting to gain that knowledge and not wanting to wait, that impatience, he has horrible methods where apes are slaughtered in every attempt that he makes to open that vault door. Which, yeah. Anyway, May knows how to get into the vault because she was sent with a team to get a drive from the computer to help them reestablish communication between humans and hopefully find other intelligent people still out there. And so after we have him, Proximus, try and convince Noah, hey, you should help me. You seem like a clever ape. I just want knowledge. so I can like unite all the apes and we can learn and we can evolve. And I don't want us to go back to being in cages, because he knows enough about the past from his human friend. I cannot remember his name. It's a weird one. He knows enough to know, like, we were in cages. I don't want to go back to that. But also having enough of an edge and enough of a, yeah, but I'm going to do whatever it takes to open this so that I can be one of those people to learn. That knows, like, no, that's not right. You're not going to slaughter my clan so that you can learn how to build a gun. So then he and his friends, an Ion girl, sorry, I can't remember her name, comment if you know it, go with May through like this ventilation, basically the ventilation system that's on top of this massive cliff. And then she gets her drive, and they then have the plan to blow up this dam that they have set up, because they're on the coast, to flood the vault, so that Proximus doesn't get the information, because May is solidly going, he can't have this information. The apes can't get this advanced. Otherwise, we, as a now struggling and dispersed and barely hanging on species, are not going to survive. So, we have these two opposing forces that will not budge in either direction, that are just hitting each other, and we have Noah and his clan being caught in the middle of this, and Noah chooses to side with May over Proximus, because Proximus basically enslaved his people. And in the end, they get caught, and May, desperate, out of sheer desperation to keep Proximus from getting the stuff inside of the vault, blows the dam while all of the apes in the entire kingdom are there, and she escapes by herself and nearly drowns Noah, and so betrays him, but out of this sense of desperation and loyalty to her own species, going, I can't let him have this much power, because otherwise we're done for. Like, humanity will die out completely, and I can't let that happen. And so was talking about everything's a gray area. This was it. Like, oh, you're awful, May, but at the same time, I totally get why you're doing it, and I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about you. So we have this huge scene where they're all trying to escape this quickly flooding vault, silo, whatever you want to call it. But this basically military cache. And Noah and his clan manage to escape, but Proximus follows them and tries to kill him. And then we have an amazing scene. So the whole thing with their clan, they raise eagles, but they sing to the eagles so that the eagles know it's them. And so we have this scene. Noah's got the crap beaten out of him. And he sees their eagles. They've come back because he freed them in the midst of the attack. The first attack on the clan. And so he sees the eagles came back, and he starts singing. And Proximus is just what are you doing? What is this? And then his entire clan starts singing with him. And so there's just this choir of apes just humming and singing. And then a flock of eagles start swooping down and attacking Proximus and slashing him and pushing him back until he falls off the cliff. It's great. It's so cool. It's so cool. I love it. Yeah, then we have a happy ending. The Eagle clan goes back to their home and starts to rebuild. And then May shows up. It's I came to say goodbye. And Noah's going, dude, you betrayed us. And is going, maybe Proximus was right. you aren't saints. And is asking the question, like, can we ever actually live side by side? Is that even a possibility? And she's just like, I don't know. I honestly don't know. And she's straight up prepared to shoot him if he goes all violent on her, because like the other human guy that Proximus had in his servitude finds them while they're doing the blow up the dam plan, and she straight up kills him. That's another fun scene where I'm like, oh, I don't know how to feel about it. Like, I understand why, but also it was a little excessive, a little extreme. Cool. Proximus still finds out and catches you. So yeah, her just being straight and ready to straight up shoot him if he shows any hostility. And he just takes this medallion that Raka gave him and goes, I guess we'll find out, and says this is important, and hands it over essentially as a peace offering and lets her go. And then she brings the drive back to her people, who are in another military base, I think, and they manage to line up all their dishes and whatever else and contact other people. And so we're left on it could be the end, but it also could have another one. Is the sense I got from the ending, which I wouldn't be mad about, especially if it's the same people going, in the production or whatever else involved in the next one. It would, I'm sure, be pretty well done. But it's really interesting to see if they go anywhere else with that, just with, hey, humans are in contact now. What's going to come of that? How are they going to try and, will they try and figure out how to live in peace with these intelligent apes, or is it going to lead into another war? Since we got War for the Planet of the Apes already, I don't know if, of course, there's more intelligent apes now, so maybe they've just turned into an all-out war for Earth, which larger scale, that could be cool and different enough from War for the Planet of the Apes. But yeah, we'll see. It might go somewhere. I don't know. If not, it's a great standalone movie. It's so good. It was so good, and the performances from all the characters were really good, and the CGI is insane, and yeah, it was a good time. I had a great time watching it. Yeah, those are my thoughts. The characters. That was the biggest part of this whole thing, was the characters and how the performance and the difference between all of these different apes, and showing I feel like they had such big characters. They were all so different from one another. And there's just so much gray area happening. It was so good. I don't know how to feel about half these characters half the time, but that's so great. Oh, so yeah, it was so good. It was so good. Yeah. Those are all my thoughts. If you guys want to share yours in the comments, feel free to do so. Love to rant more with you in there. It's always fun. Yeah, you can drop any suggestions or requests you have down there too. I post videos on this channel every Wednesday and Saturday, on my audiobook channel on Thursdays. I'll see you all next time.